what do you do when the brat brain says, feed me, feed me, feed me? Well, you can start off just acting like how moms did for a really long time when kids weren't fat and people weren't fat. They said, it's not dinner time. I'm not going to feed you or it'll spoil your dinner. There was a framework placed around meals. So what would kids say then? They'd come home, they'd be hungry from school, they didn't eat enough at lunchtime, they didn't like what was served at lunchtime. Moms would go, too bad, you'll be eating at dinner. Dinner's in an hour or two. And the brat brain, whatever, it's going to just say, but I'm starving, but I'm going to starve to death. And you just have to be a parent to your brat and say, no, you won't starve to death. You have plenty of fat to live off of. You're hungry, but you're not starving. Starving means that you're breaking down your body tissue to be used for fuel, and that doesn't happen when you have abundant fat stores. You can go into some metabolic shutdown, which is called starvation mode. This is really confusing because they call it starvation mode, but it isn't really starvation. Starvation is when you break down your body tissue when you don't have any fat left over. So you have fat, and in order to teach your fat to be hormonally responsive, to be released, to be burned for fuel, then you actually have to give it an opportunity to do so. So a big part of training the brat means allowing your hormones to regulate so that fat can be released and burned as fuel. And then you won't have these being plagued with the brat brain, feed me, feed me, feed me, but I'm hungry. You should expect these feelings. And when you have a food-free interval, whether it's between a meal or you do a mini fast that lasts for 24 hours, you're going to have lots of opportunities when you first start to do this where you're going to feel really hungry. And that's a great time to train the brat, because you say, yes, I'm hungry. That's my brain telling me it wants to eat. That's my brat brain telling me that it wants to eat. And I need not to beat the brat. I need to train the brat and explain that I will be eating at this time and that they won't die or starve to death. So I personally, because I'm a goofball, like to smack my areas where I tend to carry a little extra fat and go, okay, snack on that. Now, I don't smack my liver, which is, in my abdomen, but that's always got a snack available unless I've had a really, really intensive workout to burn away that glycogen, which is a little sugary snack that's stored in the liver. There's also some stored in the muscles. So your body always has a snack available. You don't need to have one, even though the brat is going to tell you it would rather have its sugar in the form of a cookie than in the glycogen that's coming from your liver. But that's part of socializing the brat. So you should look at every one of these little hunger pangs as a learning opportunity, so you can start to develop this training the brat, which is going to get you quite far into getting the brat to stop bugging you all the time. Just like the dog is, if the dog starts to understand, you will not give the dog a treat unless it's a training session or a meal time, then the dog will stop bothering you all the time. And the dog will learn faster than your dog brain, but that's generally because we tend to be more consistent with the dog than we are with our dog brain. So do yourself a favor, be consistent, and then you won't be food preoccupied anymore.